I don't know if it's necessarily a rule change, but certainly the way that the officials are calling hand checks on the perimeter, the physicality of when cutters cut through the lane, the freedom of movement. I think that'll make the game look pretty choppy, a little different. As I said on a radio show the other night, it's up to us to adjust in how the game is called. It's very difficult when you don't bring in officials every single day in practice. But, that's an adjustment that every team will have to make. 30-second shot clock, that's more of a wait-and-see mode in my mind.
Was that a bit shocking to you, the amount of fouls that were called in an exhibition? Not to focus on an exhibition, but is that kind of what you're talking about, just that change? Did you notice a lot of that in an exhibition?
We just have to do a better job of defending without fouling. You're taught as a player to make adjustments when officials start calling things, whether that's 2015 or 1988 when I played. It's like you have to make an adjustment. You have to make a personal adjustment. If you have 2 fouls and you don't want to sit on the bench, then don't foul. We as coaches talk all the time about defending by moving our feet rather than our hands. Again, it's going to take a little getting used to for some players. Practices are a much different environment than games. You can't call every foul in practice. You wouldn't be able to get to the repetitions you need to and everything you're running. But again, it's up to us to adjust. It was a little choppy in the exhibition. Hopefully, it was a learning experience for our team.
Well, on the topic, does it put more of an emphasis on the help defense?
No, it really makes more sense to emphasize being able to defend the ball, to be able to guard the basketball and keep guys in front of you. Everything affects everything. You're off the ball. Defense, if you're not in the right position, will lead to on-the-ball problems. How you close out, not having vision of your man. I could write a manual on that, so we'll stop right there. Everything affects everything, though.
Chris, who do you see truly running the point? I don't know how much you want to give away. It looked like Sumner a lot in the exhibition. I know Larry Austin obviously came in at times and did it. What in your mind is that going to look like for you guys?
Well, I think actually Larry played more than Edmond did in the exhibition game, simply due to foul trouble. But at the same time, I feel very confident in either one of them. Who starts, I've always been taught that it doesn't really matter who starts the game. It's who finishes the game, who's on the floor at the end. And, I think that'll really remain to be seen. We have 3 guys that are more than capable of playing point guard minutes. How you guys want to label them in terms of who's the starter, who do you feel more confident in? I like all our players. I wouldn't have recruited them if I didn't like them.
What's your take on Miami, a team that's coming in with more depth and experience than it's had in some time?
They're a better team than they were a year ago. They're an experienced team. They're a little bit of a mystery team. They have a few players that we haven't seen a whole lot of film on. But I do know that the Coop's style of play is a more frenetic one. He wants to push the pace on offense, generate easy shots. A lot of times he wants his defense to dictate opportunities out in the passing lane, trapping, pressing. So us taking care of the basketball and not giving them turnovers for touchdowns is going to be really important. But, on offense, they have a point guard that runs the show, probably the best point guard in the MAC. So we have to be ready.
You have a team with talent and depth and expectations like you do. You probably have to like the way this non-conference schedule sets up, because you don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of layups here that I'm looking at.
Well, we did that for a certain reason. Number one, I don't have to like anything about our schedule, and I don't know. I'll be able to maybe answer that question in a couple months, how I feel about the schedule. But, history has shown that the selection committee looks favorably upon teams that schedule people that are willing to challenge themselves. So that's what we did, and we'll find out. The results will be what they will be.
Did you go back with Coach Cooper beyond his days at Miami, or did you just kind of strike up a relationship since then?
When he was an assistant in Auburn, we used to recruit down in Atlanta a little bit. That's about an hour and a half from Auburn. And so I got to know John during his time when he was an assistant there, and I was an assistant here. And just have carried that friendship through the years on the recruiting trail. Now that he's the head coach at Miami, certain functions, games bring us together. He's a really good person. I think he's doing an excellent job. He's really changed the style of play that Miami was known for a few years ago under the late Charlie Coles, and he's done a really good job. So they're going to have his best team to date, and we have to be ready tomorrow night.
Hey, how much better, Chris, can this team be in transition than last year, maybe the year before?
Well, the elephant in the room, or just the fact that we don't have Matt anymore. I think our forwards and posts will be quicker from defense to offense, but does that make us more effective? I don't know. The one thing that I think gets lost when everybody thinks of this athleticism, this faster style of play, is the shot clock and the fact that we don't have Matt. But what people don't realize is we also don't have D. Davis, who was tremendous with his advanced passing of the basketball. He really knew how to find teammates ahead. That's a trait that Larry and Edmond aren't as gifted at and are learning. And that's the thing that Washington does so well for Miami of Ohio is he puts the ball, ahead. And a lot of times that art is lost. Fast break is slower actually if the ball handler just dribbles it up the floor. So, that remains to be seen, Andy.
Is Washington, their point guard, is he a different challenge than Maurice Jones, or is he as quick as that guy?
He's not as quick, but he's stronger. He's better. He's a guy that I think has that balance between getting his teammates shots and being able to score himself. They'll put him in situations, 1-4 flat, end of the clock. They'll put him in ball screen situations. He's excellent at finding the roll man. He has great vision. He sees out just as well as he sees down, which means he can spray the ball out to shooters. He's a really, really good player, a very heady point guard in my opinion, a guy that I think will be the best assist guy in the MAC this coming season.
With the shot clock, you mentioned it. One thing people probably don't realize is, you might get up more shots or more possessions, and now you got more defensive possessions. So was conditioning a real, sticking point with you during this preseason to get them up?
I think our guys will always be in the shape that we need them to be in. That's what practice is for. That's what we're trying to, get our players, ready to play. But, when they instituted all these TV timeouts several years ago, I mean, we look at it as 10 4-minute games. The guy gets winded, we'll pull him out. But that generally hasn't been a problem for our team that we felt like, we were coming up short in games because of our fatigue factor or our wind. So I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot with the new style, shot clock situation.